RK's Guyana Free Media presents for human development and national development this message.
Sunsets glow. I love thee. Oh, I love thee. Oh, I love thee.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. I seek refuge from the evils of Satan, and I begin in the name of God Almighty, the most gracious, the most merciful. Namaskar, namaste. I bow to the God in you. I bow to the divine in you. Om Shanti. I am a peaceful soul. You are a peaceful soul. A very blessed good morning, good afternoon, good night, as the case may be, or in between. Dearest friends and family, brothers and sisters around the world, this is another in the presentation of RK's Guyana Free Media, bringing to you Elections 2020 Update 34. Are we going far away? Are we getting a lot of traction, and a lot of action, a lot of appreciation, and a lot of attention? But before I move on to the topic of the day, I wish to draw to you that don't forget your sanitizers. Don't forget when you use it to rub between the fingers, pull the rings forward, your thumbs in between, all around. Remove the ring a little bit and rub all over, and the thumb should take at least 20 to 25 seconds. Environ DDL, they're not sponsoring. I'm helping them as old friends and also advising people that this thing should not sell above 1,000 Guyana dollars. Some people are taking advantage and selling it for, well, not too bad, $1,100 to $1,200, that's okay. Some people are selling it at a drugstore in Middle Street and East Street, are selling it for $1,800. So DDL, you need to take some action with that store. And Guyanese, people of Guyana, please don't forget to use your sanitizers and your face masks. Careful when you hold your face mask, you hold the sides, you drop it when you go home into the wash, you try to get another one that you might have already washed. Be careful, let us protect ourselves, let us take care of our country, let us work for peace, harmony and Guyana. And the message today is taken from Culture News, and the topic is lawyer submits petition to sanction Granger, G.E.C.O.M and other officials. I repeat, lawyer submits petition for U.S. to sanction Granger, G.E.C.O.M and other officials. So I want to give you a reading on that, without making any real big comments, even though I do not believe in sanctions against a country, and I would hate for sanction against anybody, but all I want is proper governance and respect for rule of law and a proper count. I'm calling that why are they objecting to have Region 4 count finished? Why they want the entire country vote to be put in place and the Region 4 is not finished. I'm thinking as Guyanese, and so should you, friends and families, brothers and sisters around the world, we should have Region 4 count finished first. And then, where you have an objection, we can look at, or the country can look at. But finish Region 4 count, otherwise it'll be bad for Guyana, and there'll be confusion, and there will be suspect of thievery, manipulation, and skullduggery. Up New AFC, let us do the Region 4 count, finished, complete, and then decide the way forward, and CARICOM, and citizens and brothers of Guyana, sisters and all. A lawyer has submitted a petition to the U.S. Embassy in Georgetown calling for the State Department in Washington to slap personal sanctions on President David Granger and senior officials of the Guyana Elections Commission. Yesterday, Attorney at Law Randy Deepu disclosed that in addition to submitting the 6,500 plus online signatures petition to the embassy, arrangements are also in place to have copies hand-delivered to the State Department in Washington. Deepu, a Guyanese who served as a U.S. consul officer in Trinidad before coming back to live in Guyana this year, disclosed that the initiative for the petition came about as there were a growing number of persons frustrated over the March 2nd elections. 7 weeks has passed since the elections, with the results mired in controversy and court cases. A recount is scheduled to start this week and will come as the country remains in lockdown over COVID-19. Deepu, during an interview on Kaicho Radio yesterday, said that the illegal coalition was collaborating with cohorts in G.E.C.O.M to frustrate the election's results, according to the attorney Randy Deepu. He pointed out that senior U.S. officials, including Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and his deputy Michael Kozak, have been expressing concerns about the process and the need for credibility. The lawyers said that within the first 8 hours of the petition last week, 1,500 persons signed it. As of yesterday, this increased to 6,500 persons signing the petition online. The petition was handed over to the U.S. Embassy with the request it be forwarded to the Secretary Pompeo of the USA, according to Randy Deepu, attorney at law. More than half of the persons who signed are living in Guyana, with the rest coming from Trinidad, US, Canada, United Kingdom and the Caribbean, Norway, Sri Lanka, among other countries. Deepu dismissed questions that the petition would be counterproductive in light of the imminent recount. He said that after March 2nd, all parties had copies of the statement of polls, which any school child could tally up. Then there was the many twists involving Claremont Mingo, the returning officer of Region 4, who became sick and then miraculously recovered and presented a questionable spreadsheet of tabulations. The lawyer insisted that the spreadsheet was more than a cheat sheet and that the attempt to steal the elections was amateurish. Among the names listed in the petition for personal sanctions are President David Granger, Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, former Director General of the Ministry of the Presidency Joseph Harmon, Attorney General Basil Williams, Health Minister Volda Lawrence, Social Protection Minister Amna Ali, Public Security Minister Karen Maraj Ramjatan, Businessman Brian Tiwari, Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield, Deputy CEO Roxanne Myers, Region 4 Returning Officer Claremont Mingo, and the Chair of G.E.C.O.M, retired Justice Claudette Singh. According to Deepu, sanctions could include visa revocation for the persons and their immediate family members, and freezing of bank accounts and properties in the US. The lawyer said it is a mild approach to send the message home with the criticisms widespread. There is not a single voice lending support. He said that the narrative of the PPPC losing the elections and trying to frustrate the electoral process was not even laughable and is even dangerous. Taken from Guyana Standard News, 27th April 2020, nothing prevents public broadcast of recount. G.E.C.O.M has sweeping powers to ensure fairness. And this is another article by Ram Karan. This was also published in the Stabrook News and many expose otherwise and commentators, including online news. In spite of the excuses recently proffered by agents of the Guyana Elections Commission, G.E.C.O.M, former head of the Guyana Bar Association, Kamal Ram Karan, is of the firm conviction that nothing prevents G.E.C.O.M from doing a public broadcast of the March 2nd general and regional elections recount. In laying the foundation for his perspective, Ram Karan reminded that the results of the elections are contained in the statements of poll, which are already separately in the possession of the chief election officer, the returning officers for each electoral district, and in the hands of the presiding officers and polling agents for the political parties. The lawyer said that simply releasing those statements of poll, which are public documents, would let Guyana know the basis for a genuine declaration of results. In his recent writings to the daily newspapers, he said, nothing prevents the Election Commission from doing this. But as we are here, a public broadcast will ensure that the recount is done transparently, and if it is not, we will all know why. Were we all not aware of what is happening? We find it strange that the Elections Commission has refused to permit a public broadcast of the recount. Transparency is the hallmark of free and fair elections, and all normal electoral bodies usually want to show that they are acting transparently. Further to this, Ram Karan said that the strange excuse by individuals such as G.E.C.O.M Commissioner Vincent Alexander that the law does not permit a public broadcast of the recount is just that, an excuse, according to attorney at law and ex-former Bar Association head. It is just an excuse. The lawyer contended that the Representation of the People's Acts provide for the maintenance of secrecy and the counting of votes. He noted, however, that this does not explicitly apply to recounts. And in any event, Ram Karan said that the proposed recount is not being done under the Act, but under the wide powers given to the Elections Commission by the Constitution to issue such instructions and take such action as will ensure fairness, impartiality and compliance with the law and the Constitution. Ram Karan said that this power is distinct from the power to order a recount under the provisions of the Representation of the People Act. Expounding further, he asserted that a recount under that act was refused by the returning officer for Region 4, Claremont Mingo, and like his decision to declare results without complying with the provisions of that act, despite a court order, he recalled that the decision has not been rescinded by the Commission, although it has the power to do so. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, he is saying, even though the court ordered, the Commission has not rescinded the illegal declaration of Mingo. Ram Karan said if the recount is not being done under the provisions of the Representation of the People Act, where Mr. Alexander no doubt found his excuse, then that act does not apply to the recount. While the Elections Commission may utilize the procedures for recounts set out in the Representation of the People's Act for convenience, the Constitution sets no limits to the wide powers given to the Commission to ensure fairness and impartiality. I repeat that. The Constitution sets no limits to the wide powers given to the Commission to ensure fairness and impartiality. Even if there were some law that placed an obstacle in the way of publicly broadcasting a recount, Ramkaran strongly contended that the law would be subject to being declared void as being inconsistent with the Constitution, since the Constitution specifically permits the Elections Commission to issue instructions and take action for fairness and impartiality. The Constitution, I repeat, specifically permits the Elections Commission to issue instructions and take action for fairness and impartiality. In addition, the lawyer said he's quite sure that Alexander knows the Elections Commission has the power to amend any such law to remove obstacles in its way while Parliament is dissolved. So the Elections Commission has that power. It's amazing. And all everyone are asking for, ladies and gentlemen, this is my commentary, is that they want free and fair, impartial elections, and whoever wins the election takes power, and the rest work with them. But there seems to be some kind of an internecine conspiracy between G.E.C.O.M and some organization which are stymieing the results on the count and causing mayhem and shame, and sadly may bring sanctions against our country. God, please help us so our country will never get sanctioned, and help those who might be sanctioned individually, that they will come to their senses and end this debacle that we are in, to prevent personal sanctions. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and families, your brother, yours truly, Haji Roshan Khan, saying thank you for tuning into this, the RK's Guyana Free Media. Peace and blessings, and God be with one and all. Yours truly, saying farewell, friends.